So why it's better to come up with your own portfolio instead of going with one of those mutual funds. Um, and it's good to get a good variety of companies. You don't want to invest only in one company. That's extremely risky. So you want to try to go with the same principle of, getting a variety of companies and, of upstanding reputation, look into them, investigate them. Um, you might even consult with experts or read whatever you can online. Um, but pick the companies yourself. Don't just go with an index fund. Even though and it's not so much that you're going to be able to pick the companies better. You probably won't. That's not the point. The point is that you're doing it yourself, and that way you really have companies that you care about, that you're going to really want to stick with, and that way your portfolio is your own creation. It's something that you've invested a lot of your time in, a lot of your effort in. You've really checked out these companies. These are the ones that you personally want to go with. It's not just that some expert told you that these are the right companies. And even if you're going by like something like socially conscious, there are some socially conscious funds. But picking it yourself is still better than going with a socially conscious fund because I used to have a socially conscious fund, and yeah, that's great. It makes you feel good. But I just didn't keep it for very long because I wasn't that personally invested in it. I mean, there were other things going on in my life that made it so I wasn't saving as well as I should have been or at all. But, I wasn't a very disciplined investor. But apart from that, I just didn't feel that connected with my mutual fund. I mean, someone told me it was socially conscious and that it was a good fund to be in. But apart from that, it wasn't really me. It was just something that some guy in a suit told me was a good investment. And whereas now I'm really proud of my portfolio, I see it as an expression of myself. It's sort of a creation of mine. I'm a musician and a writer, so I like to create things. And I see my portfolio as another creation, and it expresses things that I want to see in the world. Like I've picked companies I think are good, decent companies. So it's kind of a reflection of me in that way. And a mutual fund, even if it's very, very socially conscious, and everyone has a different idea of what's socially conscious. What I think is good and responsible might not be what someone else thinks is, and vice versa. My issues aren't the same thing as someone else's, and but whereas my portfolio, I really feel a personal connection to that. So I'm going to keep invested, and it motivates me to want to put more money in. Of course, you have to be responsible with that too. Just as it's irresponsible to take money out of your account, it's also irresponsible to put more money in than you can really afford to, because then you have to, you might be putting into your account, but then you'll have to make up for it if you can't really afford to do that by charging money on your credit card or, whatever, and you don't want to go into debt to finance your portfolio. That's totally counterproductive. So, you want to be modest about how much you put in, but you also want to put enough in, and you want to leave it there. So with these new online brokerages, it makes it much easier for you to come up with your own portfolio. You can do it yourself. You don't have to rely on some expert to tell you what are the right companies to invest in, and you just have much more control over what you're doing. Okay, so that's my idea for today, and thank you for listening.